So guys, Oliver Queen is fresh out of prison and it seems that he can't stand not being the Green Arrow for too long, as this new trailer shows us Oliver Queen kicking ass as the returned Green Arrow. Let's break down the trailer for episode 8 of season 7 of Arrow. What is up, Vigilantes? Welcome to a brand new Arrow Season 7 Episode 8 trailer breakdown. Now, this is for the episode titled Unmasked. Now, I'm really looking forward to this episode for one kind of obvious reason, and that is because Oliver Queen is out of Slabside. As fun as that stuff was, we have got the Green Arrow back, and not the Copycat Green Arrow, but the Green Arrow himself. But I do want to discuss what that means for the Copycat Green Arrow now that Oliver is back in Star City. But anyway, of course, you came here to see the trailer and then my thoughts on it. So let's show the trailer first and then talk about the synopsis and then break down what we can expect to see and look forward to in the next episode of Arrow.
So what now?
I don't know. You thinking about getting back out there?
Let's hope you're not rusty.
Just a bit of advice. You probably shouldn't be shooting people your first week out of prison.
It's a good tip.
Arrow. All new this Monday at 8/7 Central on the CW.
The synopsis for next week's Arrow episode is as follows. Felicity stands by her recent decisions regarding her family. Meanwhile, Diggle and Lila continue to look into the Dante painting that Curtis found. So if you've seen the latest Arrow episode, which I trust you have, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this trailer breakdown for this week's, well, the next week's episode. But we know that Oliver is finally out of Slabside. Diaz is temporarily defeated. I do want to say that he's not dead because he's been signed on as the series regular role, so he will be coming back this season. So it's not the end of him, but now the chapter of Slabside is closed and Oliver is a free man because they have Diaz, I assume, behind bars. So he is free to be the Green Arrow again in theory, and that is one big thing I have coming out of this trailer. Now, this trailer didn't show an awful amount, but mixed in with the synopsis, we can definitely discuss quite a few things. Now Oliver is back in Star City. I trust that, you know, the anti-vigilante law, wherever the ban was that they mentioned the episode before last, you know, they were discussing, do the people now want the anti-vigilante act, whatever it was called, to be lifted, since, you know, the Copycat Green Arrow is the one who knocked Diaz out in the previous episode, which the people seem to have loved. So either way, I think Oliver's going to be operating as the Green Arrow, which he can't resist, but that will still be illegal. And it's quite funny seeing Dinah really kind of happy about that when she's been totally against, you know, Renee and everyone else getting into vigilantism. But, you know, I know Dinah has made a few steps towards, obviously, accepting that a lot more. But I have to say, of course, it looks fantastic seeing Oliver Queen, or Stephen Amell even, back up in that Green Arrow suit, kicking absolute ass in this trailer. So with Diaz temporarily out the window, what we've got really to tackle with now in Star City is that Oliver's going to return back as the Green Arrow. What will the repercussions of that be? Does he have to be really careful? Because, you know, I just can't wait for them to get down to the itty grittiness of that. It's like, this guy's been let out of prison. Like, yes, sure enough, Laurel made a deal for him, for Diaz, that kind of all panned out. But surely all eyes are going to be on Oliver Queen now to see if he returns back as the Green Arrow in Star City. And flipping everyone and their grandmother knows that their mayor, Oliver Queen, was the Green Arrow. Like, I really hope they pull off a good job of Oliver going out there in the streets and not everyone just thinking, hey Oliver, you know, when he's under the Green Arrow mask. But maybe they can combat that with the fact that we've got the Copycat Green Arrow out there too, which can only really serve to help Oliver and has served to help him in prison technically, because you could argue now that Oliver's out there and we see him in this episode, of course, using his Green Arrow skills to beat up criminals in the club, so it looks, or whatever. But as long as Oliver gets away from the SCPD or whoever may be after him, if he's getting caught, you can easily just point that finger to the Copycat Green Arrow, because that guy, or gal shall I say, has been out there for quite a while. So that's the good thing. Now this episode is called Unmasked. Because the thing that I'm also excited about with what's left to talk about is the fact that, okay, we've been over the fact that Oliver Queen going out there as Green Arrow, what's going to be the deal with that? Are all eyes going to be left on him? But the other thing I want to discuss is, well, the Copycat Green Arrow. Like, does this mean that she or he will be unmasked? And I say she or he because there's still that big debate amongst fans, but spoilery kind of stuff. If you know a bit about it, we kind of know who that person is, but I'm just going to keep saying he or she for the sake of it. Maybe it won't happen in this episode. It could do because it's called Unmasked, but you know, it's only a matter of time before Oliver Queen as the Green Arrow runs out there in the streets of, Star City doing like a typical job maybe this episode. And who else is out there doing the same thing, albeit perhaps a bit more brutal, because we know the Copycat Green Arrow seems to kill people. The Copycat Green Arrow, so surely they're going to bump into each other, and Oliver's going to want to know who this person is, and that is going to set up a whole very interesting storyline. Because if you know what I'm talking about in terms of spoilers and who that person might be, well, that could be our cliffhanger till when it returns next year. So yeah, if I'm remembering correctly, this airs December 3rd. We've got the crossover episode after that, so this should be the mid-season finale of Arrow, where, amongst what the synopsis teases and what this trailer teases, it doesn't tease a whole lot. I mean, we've still got the Felicity stuff to talk about, but maybe they're deciding to keep maybe some kind of twist or unmasking or some other kind of thing under wraps for the actual episode itself. And then, obviously the Elseworlds crossover is going to take place, and that'll be its own little self-contained thing. Now, in this trailer, as quick as it is and how little it kind of shows really to some massive exciting stuff that we're hoping will go down in this episode, it seems that Dinah, obviously being in the SCPD, might give Oliver some kind of tip off to a basic criminal kind of activity, because in this trailer we do see Oliver going to this club. We see a DJ on the decks there, we see some kind of corridor scene, so hopefully we're going to get a load of enemies fighting Oliver in a Daredevil-esque corridor fight scene. And no, I'm not going to say it's going to live up to that or anything, but that scene at the end of this trailer shows Oliver shooting behind him and hoping he lands the right shot. So I'm thinking, yeah, just basic level kind of criminal thing to just warm Oliver into the Green Arrow suit again. But I'm really, as I said, I'm hoping the Copycat Green Arrow might get in on this as well, and that's when these two might come face to face for the first time, and who knows, we might actually get that unmasking of the Copycat Green Arrow. Now, Dinah is giving Oliver the most obvious advice. It might not be such a great idea to shoot people first week out of prison, and he was like, that's a good tip. Now, the bit at the beginning of the trailer where everyone's kind of all suited and booted and maybe drinking champagne or whatever, I don't know, and Renee's just like, oh, so you're going to get back out there again? I love Renee at the minute, and I bet he's going to be itching for Oliver to say yes to that, because if there's one person who's been, high to the call of vigilantism, it's been Renee this whole time. So Wild Dog definitely wants to get out there. I think he's like a dog on the leash so far this whole season, and as soon as he's let off, he's going to run wild in Star City as obviously Wild Dog. But anyway, skipping beyond past just that, I just think that's a party, maybe celebrating Oliver getting out of prison. It wouldn't surprise me if it was. But the whole bit in the synopsis now, which we don't really see anything of in the trailer, where it says Felicity stands by her recent decisions regarding her family. Now, I did say in my review for this episode, and if you missed it, it is in the cards above, but I said that when Diaz said to Oliver right at the end, before Diaz got stabbed by Oliver, about how, did you know your wife or Felicity, held a gun to my head, and Oliver's like, I don't believe you, Felicity isn't like that. We're going to have to deal with those repercussions of Felicity getting darker. As I've said in quite a few videos now, Beth Schwartz has said that the point of those flash forward scenes is to see how our present day characters' decisions are impacting their future, and they've modeled that beautifully with Felicity and how they set her up in the flash forward scenes. Obviously she's gone Overwatch evil or whatever William said, and obviously in present day you can see how her present decisions are impacting her to become that person, possibly in the future, Overwatch evil, Overlord evil. I can't remember what William said, but either way, Felicity's done some dark things, bottom line dark things, to the point where Oliver doesn't even believe it, right? So in this episode, it seems from the synopsis that, with her standing by her recent decisions regarding her family, all of which people like Diggle has questioned, and she has gone pretty far using Anatoly's life as collateral damage just to get some data, basically doing whatever it takes at any cost, even if it costs a bit of your humanity and who you were before, and definitely goes over that ethical line. It's quite interesting to hear from the synopsis that she's not going to go back on any of that. So Oliver's probably going to be a bit like, oh shit, with that, because, you should have some humanity regarding your decisions, whether you're proud of them or not proud of them. And it seems Felicity is losing that, thus shaping that person in the future. But who knows how it's going to end up. I don't think it's going to be mega dramatic. I know some people are not wanting Oliver to be free just to go in more illicity drama in next week's episode. But it seems that it might go that way. But I don't think they're going to massively sugarcoat it with a load of drama. I think it will be mentioned, but it might be dealt with in the next half of the season rather than this episode. This episode will hopefully be more about Oliver getting back into the suit. Sure, that will be addressed. and a few other things, hopefully surprise things. And then the next season will, you know, deal with even more character development, whether it's in the right direction or the wrong direction for Felicity. Lastly, I want to talk about where the synopsis says, meanwhile, Diggle and Lila continue to look into the Dante painting that Curtis found. Now, this is going to be quite interesting. I didn't think I would be so looking forward to this, but now I've been reminded of it. It's like, oh yeah, you have that whole Argus, like, power struggle corruption thing going on, and obviously that's been something that's been painted out throughout this season slowly, and now we're finally going to hopefully get a tackle into that, hopefully some big payoffs, or maybe some potential teases for it to be picked up even further, for that storyline to branch out even more in the next half of Arrow when we get that back next year after Christmas. But I'm really happy with the synopsis of next week's episode and the trailer, and where things are at just in time for the Elseworlds crossover, which is going to be kick-ass within itself. And of course, check out my recent video on that if you haven't seen that already, because there's so much to look forward to. But anyway, guys, that is the gist of this trailer and next week's episode. Leave a like on this video if you're enjoying the show and you're excited for next week's episode and Oliver getting back into the Green Arrow suit. Of course, let me know your speculations on next week's episode. Do you think that there's going to be any, hopefully, mystery things popping up, like the Copycat Green Arrow, and maybe that unmasking will be unveiled this episode? Other than that, everyone, of course, subscribe to this channel for more Arrowverse updates and other nerdy and geeky content just like this. Links, as always, are in the description down below to my Facebook, social media, and everything like that, including other places you can support me, like Patreon. Aside from that, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you Vigilantes in the next video. Goodbye.